correctly. I just had my live streaming feature enabled, and today we are going to be going through the Forbes Rich List, the Fortune 500, and we're going to be discussing about what's going on over the past few months, who's made the most amount of money. It's going to be pretty short live stream. However, if this does well, I will do more live streams in the future. Didn't dress up in a suit today. My hair is getting kind of long. Haven't been to the hairstylist in a while. Everything's closed. So I thought this is the perfect time to make a live stream. And I was thinking about it because Mark Zuckerberg really gained a few spots. So always you were thinking, hey, Warren Buffett, great investor, always around that $80-90 billion mark. Now, sure, Warren Buffett is giving away a fair amount of money. It really does depend on how much a billionaire donates. At that point where you're in the top 50 richest people on the entire planet, anything from Bill Gates to Jeff Bezos to Mark Zuckerberg, all of these individuals will be donating millions and millions of dollars. Some, however, are on a pledge to donate billions and billions of dollars. And that's why the Forbes list really does vary. It's not so much that the stock market is crashing or it's going into a rally and all of these people are suddenly making a lot of money. The people at the top are still continuing what they have been doing for many years. So it's not like they sold their company suddenly or they were released from being CEO or some scandal happened. The people at the very top either went through a very expensive divorce, something happened, and usually this is giving away money, and that's how new people are able to climb to the top. So there's always this battle. Mark Zuckerberg and Jeff Bezos have been seeing some incredible gains. We're going to be discussing about that. But first, I want to make sure that everything is fine and okay with the video and audio quality. It's probably going to be the same subscribers from my other channel. However, I just want to make sure that you guys know within the next 2 to 3 weeks, we're going to be posting more content on here. I know I promised a very long time ago. And I thought, listen, I just have to post. That's the number one thing. So we're going to be posting a new webcam and a better microphone will be used within the next 2 weeks. Hold on with me. It's the pandemic, so you have very powerful CEOs like the 3M CEO doing an interview with, just kind of like, it's not that he's in his pajamas, but he's totally unprepared in terms of what he's wearing in the background and the webcam quality. So you have these very powerful CEOs who are just reduced to the webcam that is dominating everything. So anyways, with that out of the way, welcome to Neta. I'm excited. Wow, we actually have some live viewers, even with only 1,000 subscribers. So that seems to be working. If at any point the video and audio quality is going to be bad, let's go forward. Let's begin. So we're going to share my screen here with you guys. And give me 1 second, just reduce the wrong thing. There we go. We aren't going to have it enabled for this stream if you're coming from the other channel. Welcome, Joel. Thank you for the support. We're not going to have the chat box set up. This is just the first test live stream, and we're going to see how things are going to go with that. So, video capture device, see you. I'm going to reduce myself, and here we go. The American billionaires. Oh, I'm excited about this. So, there's a lot of billionaires to discuss in the future of this channel. There's over 3,000 of them. And they're growing every single year. And you'd think, hey, during a pandemic, people are going broke. Not everybody. Not everybody. So American billionaires got $434 billion richer during the pandemic. The U.S. billionaires saw their fortunes soar by a ginormous amount. And that's still nothing compared to the trillions and trillions that the government and the Federal Reserve is printing. But it's a pretty nice gain. So Jeff Bezos added $34.6 billion to his wealth. He went through a pretty costly divorce, and his ex-wife agreed not to take half. That was pretty nice of her. And she took a fair amount. It was around the 30 billions. So he got that back. He's doing just fine. Mr. Mark Zuckerberg, he picked up $25 billion, and that's why he was in the news. That's what helped him. The past 2 months have helped him beat Warren Buffett. So we're not going to go further into this. All the links, by the way, will be down in the description below. The Forbes 400 list, the definitive ranking of the wealthiest Americans. And this is from October 2nd, 2019. So we do have to look at the dates. And later on, we will see, for example, Warren Buffett As of 4/7/20, he had $67.5 billion. As of 5/22/20, he had $68.7 billion. So that's a difference of a month and a half, and that's a difference of over $1 billion. That seems like, all right, that's a fair amount right there. But Mark Zuckerberg, here it says he's number 7, and Warren Buffett is number 4. We have to look at one thing. This ranking is from before the pandemic. So that's not updated. The ranking itself is not updated. If Mark Zuckerberg stays at this spot next year, he's going to be updated. Next year, he's going to be number 3 or number 4, wherever he's at currently. So currently, he's beat Warren Buffett. His real-time net worth as of 5/22, May 22nd, is $86.1 billion. So he's well past Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett, like I said, has donated quite a bit. Also, his stock portfolio was affected by the pandemic. Mark Zuckerberg, well, his stock has been affected in kind of the opposite direction. There were some companies that made a lot of money, and most of these companies were either essential companies or these companies that were huge, and suddenly everyone's going to them. So anything revolving around the internet. So you had Netflix, you got games, you got movies, you have social media networks, you have internet companies. All of these companies, as long as they have a good business plan and they have good strategy and no scandals ongoing over the past few weeks, a lot of them have seen incredible gains. You've seen Twitch and live streaming networks suddenly explode. Zoom, it's kind of like Skype, it's kind of like Google Hangouts, except it's a little bit more professional. It had its own scandal, but it grew tremendously. Millions and millions and millions of users, adding to its value in terms of the billions of dollars. So let's go through the Forbes 400. Keep that in mind. Just because someone is placed number 3 or number 4, currently they might be a few spots away. So I've never seen Mark Zuckerberg's wealth that close to $100 billion. And honestly, that's why I started this channel. Because I know within the next 5 to 10 years, we're going to see some crazy things. One thing I just want to make notice of, Joe Rogan signed a deal worth $100 million. So when you hear of a $100 million deal for a sports star, okay, you can understand that because that happens a lot. Some time ago, it was pretty crazy to hear of $50 million, $100 million. Of course, there's a little bit of inflation, making it a little bit less powerful than it was maybe 10 years ago or 20 years ago. However, when you hear of an influencer signing a potential deal worth hundreds of millions of dollars, and it's definitely $100 million, but then Spotify has to spend millions and millions more marketing him, advertising him. If all goes well, who knows? He might sign a $200 million deal later down the line, or he's going to sign a $500 million deal if he goes to a competitor. Who knows? Because of one thing, the stock price of Spotify jumped up insanely when that was announced. And Patrick Bet-David from Valuetainment said that $100 million deal helped Spotify secure $5 billion. So that proved to other companies around the world, if you're the top of your game, if you're the top broadcaster, if you're the top podcaster, if you're the top YouTuber, the top TikToker, the top Instagram star, like Kim Kardashian or Kylie Jenner, and constantly it's changing all over the place, you can become worth billions and billions of dollars. And maybe Joe Rogan in the future is going to be able to sign a $500 million deal. He's making a lot of money. However, Patrick Bet-David said within the next 5 to 10 years, most likely there's going to be an influencer that signs a $1 billion deal. And I believe him. The world is changing right now. A lot of these billionaires are from tech. We're also going to be discussing about cryptocurrency billionaires. So something pretty new. This article is from 2018. You're going to see some familiar faces depending on which channel you're from. I'm excited to discuss about that. However, this video, we're just going to be going through a few billionaires. Nothing too in-depth, kind of an introduction for this. And in the future, we're going to be going through all the various categories. I want to talk about oligarchs, to dictators, to politicians, to billionaires from Silicon Valley, to cryptocurrency billionaires, to people who were just passed down for generations and generations, royalty. So a lot of videos to come. All right, Forbes 400. I'm excited. Over the next few years, we're going to see some crazy new things. And speaking of influencers, Kylie Jenner also made it to the Forbes list. So a lot of stuff. Amid a year of big gains and big losses, the Forbes 400 richest Americans are worth a record-breaking $2.96 trillion. That is amazing. And by the way, I'm using Google Chrome. I just prefer Google Chrome. I'm not a big fan of Safari, to the person asking about that. Welcome, Cyrilio. That is up 2.2% from 2018. And this is from the previous year. So it's safe to assume that even with the economic crash, just based off of this alone, if the economy returns back to normal within the next few months before the year is over, we might see it climb even further. And every year it's going to be climbing. More and more billionaires. And as there come more billionaires, and it gets easier for them to make money, and with inflation, it's a little bit, but it does add up, we're going to see even more money. So in the future, there might be $10 trillion. In the future, there might also be somebody worth $500 billion, or the first trillionaire, maybe in our generation. Amazon founder and CEO Jeff Bezos keeps his spot as #1 richest in the U.S. for the second year in a row. So he had a record-setting divorce settlement, clocks in at $114 billion, and that's down from $160 billion. So that was approaching Carnegie-level money, Rockefeller-level money. Crazy. And those guys, with inflation-based estimates, were worth, Carnegie, for example, after he sold his company, $300, $400 billion, depending on where you look. So $160 billion, still not quite close to Mr. Carnegie. So his ex-wife, Mackenzie Bezos, joined the list for the first time, and she is worth $36.1 billion. And I want to go back. So Bezos over here added 34.6, and she added 36. So he almost recovered the entire thing. I take it back. I thought he recovered the 100%. Don't worry. I think he's going to be fine. He's still over $100 billion. Bill Gates, very familiar to very many people, especially right now, comes in at #2. The same rate as last year, but the gap between him and Bezos has narrowed dramatically to just $8 billion. And this was back in October. So it's changed a lot right now. Besides Mackenzie Bezos, 18 other newcomers joined the ranks, including Tim Sweeney. So he's the guy behind Epic Games with Fortnite. Very, very popular. Never played it myself, but I see a lot of business opportunities. I saw Travis Scott's concert on Fortnite. That was record-breaking in itself. And as an entrepreneur, you have to see these opportunities. If you think, oh, something is silly, that's what people said about crypto. Oh, Bitcoin's silly, and then boom, you have a Bitcoin billionaire rich list because multiple people made billions of dollars from it, and plenty of people made over $100 million from that. You have private equity deal maker Orlando Bravo, who is the first Puerto Rican-born billionaire. Oh, that's pretty good. Anthony Wood, founder of streaming technology firm Roku. The minimum net worth needed to be part of the exclusive Forbes 400. It's $2.1 billion, and it's rising. So it really varies, but currently it's $2.1 billion. The average net worth of a Forbes 400 member has risen to $7.4 billion, up $200 million. At these heights, a record 221 American billionaires ranging from Michael Jordan and Jay-Z to Sheryl Sandberg and Kylie Jenner, they don't make it. So that's pretty crazy. There's a lot of billionaires, but the Forbes 400 and the Fortune 500, that's where it comes in. Oh yeah, that is boss level. So let's go through the top 10. Jim Walton. Walton, you might think of that name. Walton, Walmart. So some of these individuals are part of a family, and they had their money for generations. So there's multiple individuals on the Forbes 400 list who are brothers, sisters, mom, dad, all that stuff. So you might see entire families. But Jim Walton's the richest of the bunch with $51.6 billion. He's aged 71 and from Walmart. Steve Ballmer, you might remember him. He doesn't work with Microsoft anymore, neither does Bill Gates. He kind of resigned from that role, and now he's more into charitable efforts. So thumbs up for that. Age 63, also $51 billion, just $100 million more than Mr. Jim Walton. From Washington, from Microsoft, Michael Bloomberg. So you saw him in the news because of his political rallies. He wanted to become president, and he was in the news a lot for some controversial stuff that he did. He's from Bloomberg, so Bloomberg.com. $53.4 billion, age 77, New York. You have Sergey Brin and Larry Page. They're both from Google. Both 46, and both are from California, except one has $2 billion more. Larry Ellison. So he's pretty popular as well. $65 billion. He's 75. Software. If I remember correctly, his is Oracle. There was an amazing documentary about Larry Ellison. And one quote I will always remember about Mr. Larry Ellison. Ever since he was young, people remember him from school saying, "I want to become a billionaire." So people thought, wow, Mr. Larry Ellison is absolutely crazy. Except he was able to achieve that. And not only was he able to become a billionaire, he's the 5th world's richest man. And he's been on the billionaire list for a very, very long time. So you may not be familiar with Oracle. However, it most likely was in your world without you knowing about it. So you can look into Oracle. It's just software. A lot of the computers that you use, maybe it was something at school, I guarantee you, Larry Ellison had his part in that. Mark Zuckerberg, most likely 99% of my audience on all of my channels combined have Facebook. His is $69.6 billion, but like we said over here, currently it's $86.1 billion. Who knows? Maybe Mark Zuckerberg might be able to beat out Jeff Bezos in the future. And you know there will be an individual who's going to be worth more than Jeff Bezos. So I'm really excited to see what's going to be going on over the next few years, maybe the next few decades. Here it was Warren Buffett, number 3, $80.8 billion he dropped. And he is the oldest on the top 10. He's 89, turning 90 very soon. He's from Nebraska and Berkshire Hathaway. So Berkshire Hathaway is, we can look this up right now. Berkshire Hathaway, there's an A stock and a B stock. So if you're ever interested in attending a shareholders meeting in good old Omaha, Nebraska, there's not a lot over there except Mr. Warren Buffett, well, you're most likely not going to be able to afford Berkshire Hathaway price. The Berkshire Hathaway Class A stock, which is $261,210. So over the past month, it's been a little bit rocky. It was worth $285,000. $285,000. That's right. And it fell down to $261,000. However, if you look at the all-time, and I want to make sure my face isn't covering that. Yes, you can see it. Oh boy. Here it starts, 1990, but it was before then. 1990, here it's at 7,100. And we can go into the future, either on this channel or on my cryptocurrency channel, why a stock is able to divide and help people become multimillionaires or even billionaires because of the stock divides. And if it happens a lot of times, you just get more stock, and if the stock goes up in price, you gain more money. So that's the simple explanation, but we can go in depth with that later on. So most likely you can't afford that. However, the Class B stock is at an affordable $175. And if you use Robinhood with fractional sharing, I finally got fractional sharing, you can probably start with $1. But there we go. So we return Bill Gates, over $100 billion, 64 for Microsoft, and Jeff Bezos with Amazon, $114 billion. However, that's been updated. So later on, we're going to be discussing, there's Alice Walton, also from Walmart, and Rob Walton. Here's Mr. Charles Koch. Unfortunately, one of the Koch brothers did die from cancer, so rest in peace. However, the family's over there. And we're going to be discussing, there's Mackenzie Bezos, she's number 15. We're going to be discussing about some of these individuals, which you might recognize these names. For example, Mars. So Mars bars, the Mars company. They create Snickers, they create a lot of candy. Just think of conglomerates. You have people on here. Let's see, he's kind of at the top. I don't know exactly where he's at. But one of these individuals, there's Rupert Murdoch, there's Elon Musk. Elon Musk gained a lot as well. He's worth $20 billion here. However, if we look up Elon Musk net worth, here it says $36.1 billion, with Donald Trump being at $2 billion only. There is an individual, we will find him later. He is the man behind LVMH, Louis Vuitton, Moet Hennessy, and you have a lot of luxury brands behind that. Also look up the owners of Luxottica. They create a lot of sunglasses, and there's Ray-Bans, there's all the popular sunglass brands under that one company. So you have a lot of these companies that have smaller subsidiaries, and that's why these individuals are billionaires. So there might be people watching this video in the future who are going to look at this and they're going to be like, wow, these people have way too much money. Listen, the way they made their money is very, very simple. Maybe some of them have been involved in some shady efforts. We're not going to be discussing about that. We are going to be discussing about this. They are providing value to the world, to the community. Otherwise, they wouldn't be on this list. And by providing value, they are solving a problem. Whatever that problem is, from creating Coca-Cola and the problem being, oh, it's, this was a fluke. They were designing something that was supposed to be a medicine. The problem was something hurt. The inventor wanted to create a medicine. It didn't work out. He created Coca-Cola. There was another problem. People had a thirst to quench. And Coca-Cola was delicious. It tasted awesome. People fell in love with it. So he satisfied a need. He satisfied a demand. And whether it's demand for a service or for a product, these individuals have gone a step further. They've branched out. Jeff Bezos may own one company, Amazon, but Amazon owns almost everything, and it's expanding more and more and more. Jeff Bezos bought out Whole Foods, so he's going from a normal store that's online to a physical store. He's buying out airlines for Amazon Prime, and he's buying out a lot of companies that work with data. He's worked with the CIA. So you have some of these billionaires who really have their hands involved with hundreds of companies. For example, Warren Buffett, investing with hundreds of companies currently, and over the lifetime, thousands and thousands of companies. So the number one thing is providing value. But if you have hundreds and hundreds of these companies, well, it's just going to grow exponentially. So we're going to go further in a future video about the Forbes 400. However, we read through the top 10. We're going to pick a few names, but before that, we're going to read the Fortune 500. Which companies are the most powerful? Fortune magazine always posts this every year. The Fortune 500 is the 500 most powerful companies out in America. So Walmart, $523,964. Did I read that right? No, because that is 523,964 times a million. That is right. So you have a lot of money right there. Billions and billions and billions and billions and billions. So revenue percentage change over the past year, 1.9%. So not a lot. Some of these companies went down, and it really depends on how it's been going on. But one thing we are going to be looking at, we're not going to be discussing about the numbers because they might bore you, is the employees. Compare the amount of employees with Walmart, where there's 2.2 million, to let's say ExxonMobil, 75,000. Or you go further down the list, 70,000 with McKesson, or AmerisourceBergen, 21,000. So huge disparities here. Here's 137,000. Here's 800,000 with Amazon. It really, really does depend on what the company is doing. Apple, 137,000. So Walmart stayed number one. A change in rank. So Amazon.com moved up from rank 3 to 2. Amazon.com, everybody's familiar with that. ExxonMobil, gas, Apple, everybody's familiar with that. Using a MacBook right now. Probably some of you have an iPhone. CVS Health, so pharmacies, and it's very similar to Walmart. We have Mr. Warren Buffett's company right there, Berkshire Hathaway, and surprisingly, they employ 391,500 people. But you have to understand that Berkshire Hathaway has this huge umbrella, so they have real estate, they have stocks, they have loans, they have insurance, they have a lot of things. So that's why there's 391,500 people. AT&T, everybody's familiar with that. Phone company, internet, a lot of stuff going on. 247,800. I'm not really sure what McKesson is, so we're going to look that up. McKesson Company. And they do medical supplies, pharmaceuticals, and healthcare, so that kind of makes sense. Let's go to the next list, and then we're going to go on to the crypto rich list. So we see Chevron, we see Costco, Alphabet. What is Alphabet? They own Google, they own YouTube. So why doesn't Google just have their own company? Well, it really depends on legal reasons, it depends on tax reasons, and there's also a video we could do about that, how some of these companies avoid taxes by shell companies or by saying that they're in Ireland, like YouTube. and some other social media networks. We have Ford Motor Company. We have JP Morgan Chase. I got banked with them. Not the happiest customer, but we got Walgreens, Verizon Communications, and the smallest amount of employees so far that we're seeing, Chevron. So the oil companies don't really have that many employees. We have Cardinal Health. So you're going to see a lot of the same industries. You're going to see either tech stuff at the very, very, very top, and that's changed over the past 20, 30 years. You're going to see all of the energy sources. So you're going to see oil, you're going to see coal, you're going to see electricity, you're going to see all of this stuff, although that's later on down the list, further and further. You're going to see insurance. That's a huge one. You're going to see, healthcare, pharmaceuticals, all of that stuff. Very, very, very important. You're going to see banks, and you're going to see telecommunications, which also would fall in under internet companies, but there's software companies, and then there's like the physical, all right, we're going to sell phones, we're going to sell routers, we're going to sell internet access, we're going to sell all that stuff. So, Fortune 500, that's a video for another day. The richest in cryptocurrency list. This is pretty exciting. We see CZ for Binance. Binance recently bought out CoinMarketCap, and that's pretty exciting because we have always companies that are buying out something else. In the world of cryptocurrency, fortunes can be made overnight and lost overnight as well. And the winners of this digital lottery differ from those in previous manias. The shadowy beginnings, at once anarchistic, utopian, and libertarian, have drawn an odd lot of pioneers. From anti-establishment cypherpunks and electricity-guzzling miners to prescient Silicon Valley financiers and a larger-than-usual assortment of the just plain lucky hodlers. The typo-inspired crypto jargon for buy and hold investors. Oh boy, Forbes. All right, so we're not going to read the next part except just the first ever list of the richest people in crypto. And there's other crypto lists as well. There's one thing I need to point out. Net worth also really does change. Because let's be honest. If you were a billionaire, are you going to be contacted by Forbes and say, this is exactly how much money I have if you own a private company? No. Because, first of all, you're not going to know how much money you have. And I know that sounds crazy, but do you think that these billionaires, multi-billionaires who have $100 billion and their wealth can fluctuate $10 billion in a single day up or down and maybe make $50 billion and then see, especially with cryptocurrency, or if it's a very volatile niche like with tech where suddenly there's booms and huge rallies and crashes? No. If you have a public company and you have a certain amount of stock, you can roughly estimate the net worth based off of what you have. So for example, if you bought a house and there's public records on it, that's a $100 million house, and then you have a $100 million yacht, and then you have a $100 million painting, that's a $300 million net worth right there. And then let's say if you did admit, hey, I have a Bitcoin wallet that has $200 million in it, you can always look at that Bitcoin balance, but probably they're not going to reveal who has the wallet. So if you have a public amount of shares in a public company, you can calculate, all right, this is at $10 and they have 100,000 shares of this company and they have 200,000 of this company and blah, blah, blah. If you have a private company, it's a little bit harder. So net worth can vary based on which website you're looking through. And on the Forbes list, it isn't 100% accurate. It gives you a nice look to see who's got the most amount of money, but it could be off by a few billion, give or take. It could be off by even $10 billion or even more than that once you get to the very, very top. So keep that in mind. Profits of boom. Meet crypto's richest. Donata is discussing about China. China also has their own billionaires list, kind of like Forbes, and we have a lot of billionaires coming in from China. Yes, XX, I just saw your comment. Forbes is incorrect, but it gives you a nice point to look through. And there's another aspect you have to kind of think logically about. All right, if you were a billionaire and you were trying to avoid taxes, would you reveal to Forbes and then the government, the IRS, or whatever country you live in, suddenly realize, oh, hey, they have an extra $20 billion. Where did that come from? No. Because what good does it do? If you're already on the Forbes 400 list, what does it matter? Unless you're ego tripping, what does it matter if you're an extra step or two? You're going to care more about your money. You're not going to want the world to know that you have that much money. So there's an element of stealth wealth as well. So, Chris Larson, Ripple, we're just going to go through a few of these names and his estimated crypto net worth, $7.5 to $8 billion. We can't know the full amount of money that these individuals have. And with crypto, it is so volatile. However, it gives you a nice place to start off with that, yes, some crypto billionaires in the future will have over $10 billion. Who knows? Maybe Satoshi Nakamoto is one of the world's richest, but we don't know who Satoshi Nakamoto is. So, he personally owns 5.2 billion Ripple, and the token launched by Ripple, and Ripple itself controls over 61 million XRP, a war chest worth $95 billion. We have Changpeng Zhao, sorry if I mispronounced that. His age is 41 years old. And you know what, before we go on through that, that's from Binance. Let's go to this. This is an opportunity to be a trillionaire, someone who is positively impacting a trillion living things on this planet. Brock Pierce, he's a little woo-woo out there. But the numbers, the average age of the cryptocurrency's richest people versus the average age of the Forbes 400 list of the wealthiest Americans, 42 versus 67. Wow, there is a huge gap right there. So the crypto billionaires are younger and they're able to enjoy their wealth better. Amazing, right? So the minimum amount needed to make the list of cryptocurrency's wealthiest people compared to 2.1 billion is $350 million. And the average 2017 price change of Bitcoin, Ethereum, and XRP is 14,409%. You're never going to see that on the stock market. 14,409%. The average daily price volatility, this is January 2018. Apple, 1.37%. Procter & Gamble, very good stock, 1.15%. Gold, not even a full percent. Bitcoin, 10.25%. Ethereum, 12.62%. And XRP, 16.75%. So a lot of people ask, well, why do you have Bitcoin if there's network congestion and there's some other issues? And if you're interested in that, in the future, if you're watching this and you're a new viewer to the channel, I will have a link down to my cryptocurrency channel. We're going to be discussing about cryptocurrency more in depth. Well, Bitcoin's more stable. So you may not really care so much about the congestion. You just want stability. Stability, dear. So Changpeng Zhao, he's from Binance. You have the Winklevoss brothers. He's worth $1.1 to $2 billion, and it's growing. We can go through the crypto rich list more in depth later. Cameron and Tyler Winklevoss, they're worth well over $1 billion. They have made their own exchange. We have Michael Novogratz, a pretty well-known investor. He's from Galaxy Digital. Hedge fund, crypto hedge fund right there. Brian Armstrong from Coinbase, also over $1 billion. We have Matthew Roszak. He's also another capital investor. He's always looking for new converts and says he gave Richard Branson and Bill Clinton their first Bitcoins. Hey, and he's also the co-founder of Block, so he's worth well over $1 billion. We have Brock Pierce, $700 million to $100 billion. $100 billion, $1 billion. He's the advisor of Block.one. So EOS, chairman of the Bitcoin Foundation. We have Dan Larimer, also from Block.one with EOS. He's a little bit lower on the list, and he's also made Steemit. We have Charles Hoskinson, so you might know him from Cardano, IOHK, and he's also a co-founder of Ethereum. He was briefly on board it's a weird issue. We can talk about that. I think that would be a great video for Kubera in the future. Hoskinson was briefly the CEO of blockchain platform Ethereum before a boardroom brawl led him to quit. I quit! Oh, man. And that's another aspect on this channel. These people aren't normal people. These people, when they get angry, they call an agent, and that agent calls all the lawyers, and it's the best lawyers in the world, because when you're a billionaire, you think differently about the world. You don't like something? You have all the money in the world to fix it. You don't like that building? You remove that building. I love it. I absolutely love that mentality. And Brad Garlinghouse, very famous from Ripple, $400 to $500 million. He was a Harvard graduate. Awesome. Vitalik Buterin, the creator of Ethereum, and he's one of the youngest individuals on this list. He's not a billionaire. He could have very well been a billionaire. He created a crypto token that at its heyday was worth well over $100 billion. Unfortunately, he sold a fair share of it early, but it's not like he's poor. He has a few $100 million as well. So we have Tim Draper. I actually saw Tim Draper at a conference. I didn't speak with Tim Draper, but I was a few feet away. It says he's 350 to 500 million. Other sources says he was over $1 billion, and other sources say he's also over $1 billion right now. There was a rally with Bitcoin where it went over $10,000 recently. So the peak was 20,000, a little bit under 20,000, but it depends on the exchanges. So that was the first individual. I know it sounds really silly, but I will never forget this. I was standing a few feet away from Tim Draper, and I was like, wow, I'm standing a few feet away from a billionaire. This guy could literally buy thousands and thousands and thousands of cars, and the house that I live in, thousands of that, and it's like, oh my God. And he's a normal human being, and that's the thing. A lot of people don't understand that, but these people, a lot of them, yeah, maybe they come from wealthy families, but they weren't billionaires before. There's some that were a few billionaires here and there, but especially in cryptocurrency, you have a lot of investors that were millionaires, some weren't, some were even very poor. So it gives you some thought. They made a lot of money within a few years, and they're very, very, very smart individuals. But it was kind of crazy to see a billionaire just standing a few feet away. He had a Bitcoin tie. I was like, huh, interesting. Hey, that is the world. And right next, the last person we're going to discuss, Barry Silbert. He's from Digital Currency Group, age 41, $400 to $500 million. So with that out of the way, Jeff Bezos, here's the Forbes.com billionaire list. He founded e-commerce colossus Amazon in 1994 out of his garage in Seattle. He runs it as CEO and owns an 11.1% in Amazon, one of the world's richest companies. So in order to maintain a very powerful stake, it's very difficult because over time, as you get more investment, you have to sell percentage of your company. So even 11.1% makes you one of the world's richest individuals out there. Between March and April 2020, amid the pandemic, Amazon said it hired 175,000 additional workers. So Bill Gates, with his wife Melinda, Bill Gates chairs the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, the world's largest private charitable foundation. In May 2020, the Gates Foundation said it would spend $300 million to fight the coronavirus pandemic, funding treatment, detection, and vaccines. Now, this was what's interesting. Bernard Arnault. So I didn't see him over here, a Forbes 400, because he's not within here. So he's somewhere further down, but this was the individual that I was talking about. Just couldn't remember his name. He is the main guy behind LVMH. Louis Vuitton, Sephora. Sephora is one of the smaller brands. They also struck a deal to buy American jeweler Tiffany & Co. for $16.2 billion. It is believed to be the largest luxury brand acquisition ever. Nice man from France, worth $76 billion. However, it says his family, so maybe the family members are worth a few $1 billion. Here we have also Amancio Ortega, and he's from Zara. So Zara is very popular in Europe, Zara and H&M. I see that everywhere here in Poland. So there's a few names on here that it's a little bit different than the first link we had there. And Carlos Slim, he was one of the world's richest men at the time when I got interested in this, and this was years and years back. But Carlos Slim Hilu is from Mexico, and I was like, wow, a Mexican billionaire. And not only that, but somebody from Mexico who's one of the world's richest individuals in the top 10. That was an amazing achievement, where the average person in Mexico makes very, very little. So I'm proud of Carlos Slim right there. And then we have also Françoise Bettencourt, and from L'Oreal. So there's some interesting people. We see also Jack Ma from Alibaba. So let's discuss about the top 3 in depth, and then we are going to end the live stream, and we're going to be live streaming on my other channel. So this video will be uploaded. Even though it's live right now, it'll be uploaded as a video. And there's going to be more BillionaireBios live streams in the future. And there's going to be more videos on BillionaireBios in the future as well. So Jeff Bezos, number 1, his real-time net worth, $147.4 billion. And we already discussed about that. In April 2020, Bezos said he would give a $100 million donation. People were very upset. They're like, oh, you could give more. Listen, it's $100 million. It's going to help feed a lot of people. And I worked at I didn't work. I volunteered at a food pantry. I saw the working conditions. And I saw these very poor people coming in. They were hungry. $100 million. Let me tell you, that's going to go a very, very long way. So he's received some criticism from U.S. senators and the general public for its treatment of workers. Maybe not the best thing, but he really, really cares about his customers. Really, really, really cares about them. So he also owns the Washington Post, which was a very interesting acquisition because it's a newspaper. However, some people were thinking that maybe it's politically based, and Blue Origin. So he's not the only billionaire who wants to go into space. We also have SpaceX from Elon Musk and a few other companies that want to go to Mars or the moon or just generally dominate space. So he's invested in Blue Origin. Warren Buffett, currently $68.7 billion. He's behind Berkshire Hathaway. He owns Duracell. He owns Duracell. Jesus. Berkshire Hathaway owns Duracell, which technically makes him the owner, but it's not like it's fully 100% his. He's just one of the majority stakeholders in it. And Dairy Queen and Geico Insurance. He also is a big fan of Coca-Cola, invests a lot in Coca-Cola. He's the son of a U.S. congressman, and a lot of people don't really know about that. And an interesting fact, he first bought his stock at age 11 and filed taxes. Wow. Congrats, Berkshire Hathaway founder Warren Buffett. He also joined the Giving Pledge, so there's a lot of billionaires that have pledged to give away more than 50%. A lot of people are saying 99%. We'll see about that of their wealth. Who knows? Hopefully he lives to 100 plus. Very, very interesting. And the thing is, we have a lot of billionaires that are getting closer and closer to death, unfortunately. So hopefully immortality is coming down the line. Rest in peace again, one of the Koch brothers. Unfortunately, death is still here, but maybe there's going to be a future trillionaire who's able to cure immortality. Mark Zuckerberg, number 3, although on here he's number 7, but the real time is 86. Facebook, the social network Zuckerberg runs, has become a go-to communications tool during the lockdown. The Chan Zuckerberg Initiative, so that's with his wife, has philanthropic and an advocacy arm announced they would help quadruple the Bay Area's testing capacity. He took Facebook public in May 2012 and still owns about 15% of the stock. So there's a reason he might be able to beat Jeff Bezos. He owns more stock. And if Facebook goes up, he makes a lot more money. That 4% difference is huge. It really is. And he joined the Giving Pledge in 2015. So a lot of billionaires that we're going to be looking into. We can just see where they're coming from here. We have hedge funds, Ray Dalio, very, very smart investor. We have Estee Lauder. We've got a lot of investments. We have a lot of people from real estate, and there's more and more millions of Americans who are becoming very wealthy thanks to real estate. We have the Source founder. There's the PayPal mafia. So if it says he's from PayPal, there's a lot of people. Elon Musk was also from PayPal. And a lot of the people behind PayPal became billionaires or multimillionaires. Very, very rich people and very smart people. We have eBay. We got media, so that's like television and like CNN, Fox News, all that stuff. Hospitals. Thomas Frist, that's going to be a very fun one to discuss. Satellite TV. We've got the founder of WhatsApp, and Facebook bought out WhatsApp. We've got sports. So there's a lot of people on this list who may own a sports team. That's very interesting. Oil and gas. There we go. A sports team right there. This individual, his source is from the Dallas Cowboys, and he has an $8.6 billion net worth. So there was an individual out there who bought a sports team for $12 million, and he became a billionaire. And I think that's a similar case to this. Maybe he got the Dallas Cowboys for a much higher price, but hey, Carnival Cruises, which probably isn't doing too well right now. We have pipelines. We've got candy. So there's the Mars family right there. Very interesting names. Valerie and Victoria. We have software, roofing. Really? Roofing? Wow. That is interesting. Plumbing fixtures. You can make billions off of everything. Loans. So some of these are like, all right, gotcha. We have the Home Depot guy right there. So anyways, a lot of fun stuff to discuss in the future. If you're new to the channel, hit that like button, subscribe. Thank you guys for viewing. Thank you, Cirilio, Joel, Donetta, XX. You four were the first on this channel. And I just created a 45-minute live stream with 2 or 3 max viewers. I'm excited. This channel is going to grow in the future. Here's to 2,000 subscribers. And we're going to live stream on my other channel hopefully within the next hour or two. So see you on there. Thank you much for joining, and all the best, wealth, and prosperity to you all. BillionaireBios,